श्रीगुरवे नमः। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं श्रीकृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। नमो महावदान्याय कृष्णा प्रेम प्रदायिने कृष्णाय कृष्णा चैतन्य नाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः। पंचतत्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकम्। श्री कृष्णा चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर शिवासदि गौर भक्तवृंदा। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। जन्माद्यस्य यतोऽन्वयादितरतश्चार्थसुभिज्ञस्वराट् तेने ब्रह्महृदायादिकवये मुह्यन्ति यत्सूरयः। तेजो वारिमृदां यथा विनिमयो यत्र त्रिसर्गो मृषा धाम्ना स्वेन सदा निरस्तकुहकं सत्यं परं धीमहि। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। स्वस्ति अस्तु विश्वस्य खलः प्रसीदतां ध्यायन्तु भूतानि शिवं मिथो धिया मनश्च भद्रं भजतादधोक्षजे आवेश्यतां नो मतिरप्यहेतुकी। Reading from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 87, verse number 1. So this chapter, as I said earlier, is called Veda Stuti, prayers of the Vedas personified. And we read the first sloka, the commentary is to be still studied. So Parikshit asked a question, Brahman Brahmani Anirdeshe Nirgune Gunvrittayaha Katham Charanti Shrutaya Sakshad Sadasatah Pare. So he said that, O Brahmana, addressing Sukadeva Goswami, Brahman means Brahm, Paramatma Bhagavan, the Brahm part, is called Anirdeshya. So Anirdeshya means that it is indescribable, but we call it Anirvachaniya. And it is Nirguna, beyond the gunas. Nirguna can mean both that it is beyond Sattva, Rajas and Tamas, or it does not have any qualities. And gunavrittaya katham charanti, then how can he be described by words which are made from the gunas? Because Shruti is supposed to explain it. So katham gunavrittaya shrutiya charanti sakshat sadasata pare. This Brahman is beyond Sat, beyond Asat. So how is that words of the Vedas can describe it? So this is the question asked, and we read the commentary by Sri Vishnu Chakravarti. We read his Mangalacharan. Now he says, Purvadhyayante Sanmargam Adishya Bhagavan Agat iti uktam. So he is trying to explain the correlation of this chapter with the previous chapter, because at the cursory look it seems there is no correlation. It seems very abrupt that suddenly this question is being asked, because the previous question described Sri Krishna's visit to Mithila, where he met Bahulasva king and Brahmana Shrutadeva and stayed with both of them, and then he instructed them, and there it is said that Sanmargam Adishya Dvaravatim Punaragat, that he instructed them in Sanmarg. Sanmarg means Satmarg, in the path of Sat. And then he went to Dwarka, he left for Dwarka. So the question that comes here is that what is the relationship now? Suddenly he asked that how is that Brahman is being described in words. So he is trying to relate this question to the word Sanmargam Adishya, that instructing them. So what is Sanmarg? He explains that. Tatra satam bhaktanam margo hi bhakti yogo bhagavad vishayako avgamyate. Because the word Sat is used here, so Satmarg means path of truth, you can say. But which path is it? So he says that it can mean Bhakti Yoga, because Sat, Bhaktas are also called Sat. Sadhu, Sadbhave, Sadhu Bhave, Sadite, Prayujyate. In Bhagavad Gita, Sri Krishna says that the word Sat is also used for sadhus. And sadhus are primarily of two types, devotees and jnani. So therefore it says Satam Bhaktanam Margo hi Bhakti Yoga. So if you take the word meaning of the Sat as Bhakta, then their path is Bhakti. So that means Krishna instructed them in Bhakti Yoga, which means related with Bhagavan. Bhagavad Vishayako Avgamyate. Sat can also means Jnanis, those whose aim is to realize Brahman, oneness with Brahman. So Satam Jnaninam Jnani Yoga api Brahma Vishayakeva. So then the instructions would be in relationship with Brahman, because that is the destination of the Jnanis. The destination of Bhakta is Bhagavan, so therefore it is related with Bhagavan. Destination of Jnanis is Brahman, so that means Satmarg was related with Brahman. Kintu Brahmanah Shruti Pratipaditatvam etavad na buddhyate iti jati dravya gun kriyashu madhya brahma kimapi na bhavati tasya nirdeshyatvam. So whether really speaking it is Brahman or Bhagavan, both are transcendental. So how they can be described in words? Because anything which is described by words, then that can be an object, it can be a class, it can be a quality, or it can be activity. Words have meaning, and there are only 4 meanings of words. There is nothing besides that. So word is there and its meaning is there, pada, padartha. Padartha means the referent, the meaning. And pada means the word. So word can either refer to a substance like table, book, computer. These are substances. That is called dravya. Or it can refer to a class. So when we say cow is worshipable, so then cow, I am not referring to a substance, but I am referring to the class of cows. It is not about one cow. If I say this is a cow, then I am referring to the cow as a dravya, substance, that object. But when I say cow is worshipable, then I am not referring to any specific cow. I am referring to the whole class, that is called jati. So now the word cow is referring to jati. So dravya, jati, guna. It can also refer to quality. So if I say cow is white in color, then white refers to its quality. Or the word can refer to action. Cow is eating grass. So here cow is eating grass. Grass is dravya, cow is dravya. Eating is action. So all words fall into 4 categories, and there is nothing beyond that. So now, but these words are material. We produce them with our tongue. They exist for some time, then they are gone. And if God is beyond words, if He is anirdeshya, especially Brahman, because Brahman is called, which is ashabdam, nirakaram, agunam, akriyam. So Upanishad says that Brahman is not action, it is not a dravya, it is not a jati, it is nothing like that. So then how can the Vedas describe Brahman if he is beyond Shraddha? That is the question which was raised. So he says, Jati dravya guna kriyasu madhe brahma kim api na bhavati. He says Brahman is not a substance. Brahman is, because substances are all material and he is not material. It is not a jati, because jati means which is one but exists in many. Brahman is only one. It cannot be a jati. It is not a quality, because quality exists in substance and Brahman is not that. It is not an action also. Brahman is all pervading cannot be action. So therefore there is no possibility of Brahman being described. Tasya anirdeshyatvam. Therefore he is called anirdeshya, or ineffable, indescribable.
I think, did we miss some section in between? Because here it is having little more. It says kintu brahmana shruti pratipaditatvam etavan. Just
No.
before this.
Yeah, it cannot be known by these things.
You-
Then he is shruti pratipadita, but he cannot be known. Why he cannot be known? Because he cannot be any of these 4 things.
Okay, so it is there because I thought we skipped. I don't.
Tathai nirgunaye gunebhya parasmin. So this is the explanation of anirdeshya. Why he is called anirdeshya? Because he is none of these 4 things. And then nirguna is called nirguna. Nirguna means gunebhya parasmin, that he is beyond the gunas. And sadasat pare, he is also beyond sat and asat. So what is sat here? He says sat means something which has existence. That's what is called sat. The word sat comes from asdhatu. As bhuvi, sattayam, asti, stasanti. So prithvivyadi dravyam, sat means dravya, and asat means anispanna svabhavam. What is anispanna svabhavam? if you take these four things, Dravya, Gun, Jati and Kriya, they can be divided into two groups. Dravya, Gun, Jati can belong to one category and Kriya belongs to another category. So Kriya is that which is incomplete because it is happening. Action means if it is complete, then there will be no more Kriya, no more action. So action is something which is in the process of becoming complete. And Sat is that where the completion has happened. So Dravya abhihito bhavo, Krida abhihito bhavo dravyavat prakashate. In Sanskrit, the nouns means what we call as a substance. Dravya is a noun. Nouns are also derived from root words, means which has action. For example, if you have Krishna, so Krishna is coming from the root Krish, Krish Vilekne. Rama comes from Dhatu Ramu, Gaya Pratyaya Kridayam. So one who plays. So, but once you apply a Krit Pratyaya on the Dhatu, then it becomes fixed. Means the nouns also has got action inside them, but this action has become frozen. And when it is Kriya, then it is unfrozen. It is melted. It is in process. So Rama means one who plays. So the word Rama is also derived from the root to play. But the activity of playing has become frozen in it. Therefore it becomes noun. So nouns are actually frozen activities. That's how the Sanskrit derives all the nouns from the roots. So therefore he is giving the meaning of Sat and Asat as that. Sat means noun, Asat means not noun. So what is not noun? Is Kriya, action. Because Guna and Jati, they all can also become noun. So Sat is noun, Asat is non-noun, which means Kriya. So the noun will be Dravya, Gun, Jati and Kriya. So again the four meanings come from that. So that's what he's saying, that Sat Prithvivyadi Dravyam Asat Anispanna Svabhavam. Vastu Kriya. Therefore first one he says as Vastu, means an object, and second is Kriya. Tabhyam Parasmin Tatha means beyond that. Tad ashritatvat jaterapi parasmin. And because jati is situated in them, so jati is also para. Yadva, he gives another meaning. Sad means dravya and asat means adravya. So then same meaning comes jati kriya cha tat. So adravya will be then jati and kriya. Dravya will be substance, adravya will be gun jati kriya. So parasmin गुणवृत्तया गुणैः प्रवृत्ति निमित्तैः जात्यादिभिः वर्तमान श्रुतियो निर्जात्यादि के ब्रह्मणि कथम चरन्ति. So this is called pravritti nimitta. When you give name to something, then that name is given because of some reason. Because in Sanskrit names have meaning, the nouns or names have meaning. So there is a pravritti nimitta, and these are the four pravritti nimittas. The pravritti nimitta is dravya, jati, gun, kriya. So in Nyaya Sutra we studied a sutra, vyakti, jati, akritaya, padartha. Padartha means the referent, the meaning of the word. It says the meaning of the word are only these three. He limits there only to three, doesn't include the kriya there, because he is talking about noun. So they will mean either jati, class, dravya, substance, and shape, which refers to qualities. So either a substance, quality, or class. And then the fourth one is kriya. So that is the meaning of the first sloka. Then he begins his reply to that. Sri Shuka Vacha, Sri Sukadeva Goswami said, Buddhi Indriya Manah Pranan Jananam Srijat Prabhu Matrartham cha Bhavartham cha Atmane Kalpanaya cha. So Sukadeva Goswami said that the Lord, He created the intellect, the senses, the mind and the life air of living beings for the purpose of knowledge or experiencing the sense objects, taking birth, for getting liberation. For these three things. Matrartham means for experiencing sense objects. Bhavartham, going through the cycle of karma, create karma, take birth. And Atmanya Kalpanaya, becoming free from the bondage, making yourself free. So this is another problem. What is the question and what is the reply? What is the relationship? He is saying that how is that the words of the Vedas can describe Brahman, which is ineffable, beyond gunas and beyond sat and asat. And he says that only God created mind, senses, intellect, life air for human beings so that they can enjoy, they can die and take another birth or take moksha or become liberated. So what is this relationship? So this is the mystery. So he explains that. So Uttaramaha, the reply is being given to the question. Buddhi iti. Jananam, the word Jananam means Jivanam. So means it is not only human beings but all living beings. Matradiyartham buddhyadin prabhur ishvaro asrijat. That the Ishvara, God, He created mind etc. for the sake of matra etc. So there are two things. He created four things: buddhi, indriya, mana, prana. And he created it for three things, or you can say for four things, depending on how you break it. For the sake of matra, for the sake of bhava. Bhava means birth. Matra means to have experience. And Atmane Kalpana means liberation. That's the simple sloka. So now he explains the words. So what is the meaning of word matra? So miyante iti matra. Matra comes from the dhatu mang mani, to measure. So like in English we have the word meter, right? So what is meter? With which you measure. So meter is coming from matra. So matra means that which is measured. Miyante iti matra. Which means the sense objects. Because what our senses are doing, they are actually measuring the sense objects. And to measure, you have to come in its contact. Like if you want to take the temperature with thermometer, What do? You put the thermometer in the water. Suppose you want to know what is the temperature of the water. So you put it inside the water, then the mercury expands and comes to the same temperature as that of the water. And because of the heat or cold, it will expand or contract. And you have marked that. So you say, oh, the temperature is this much. So that's what our senses also do. They come in contact with the sense object and then measure. If you put something on your tongue, and so it is salty, it is bitter, it is sweet. With eyes you say, oh, this is white in color, this shape. Same with the nose. With everything else, that's what we are doing. So therefore the matra, the word matra here means the sense object. Because they are measured means they are experienced. After all, what thermometer is doing is, it is experiencing the water or whatever you want to take the temperature. It goes and experiences it. So our senses are the meters for measuring the sense objects. So therefore sense objects are called matra, or which are measured. Vishaya. So tadartham. So that means he created mind, senses, etc. for experiencing sense objects. That's what we are doing all the time. We are having experience, prataksha, with our senses of various sense objects. And that is called karmafal bhoga. So the experience what you have of the sense objects is either favorable or unfavorable. So if your karma is good, experience is favorable. If your karma is not good, experience is not favorable. That is the karmafal bhoga. That's experience of your karma. Sense objects you get because of your past karma, and then you experience them, good or bad, happy, painful, body through that. So that is the first part, matrartham. Then next one is bhava, bhavartham, for the sake of bhava. So bhava means birth. Birth means what? Rebirth. We already have taken birth. Now we have indriya, mana, prana, etc. So they will give us another birth because we will create nice karma in this life, right? So that after death, karma will be standing, waiting to catch you and give you another birth. It says, come here. So that is bhavartha. And that karma is also created because of mana, indriya, prana, buddhi, mana, indriya, prana. So punar janma, and this is not just one time, again and again. So punarapi janma, punarapi maranam, punarapi janani jathare shayanam. Bhaj govindam, govindam bhaj mudhamate. So this is the story of life, bhavartham. And then comes the next one, bhavandha hetu karam karanartham. You can also act in such a way that bondage to karma is cut. Instead of getting bound by karma, you can also cut it. Buddhya yuktaya partha karma bandham prahashyasi. Krishna says, if you use your intelligence properly, which I have given you, then you can cut the bondage to karma. So that's why it says buddhi, indriya, mana, prana. First buddhi is mentioned. Because if you use your buddhi properly, then you can cut the karma. If you don't use it properly, then you bind yourself instead of cutting. So therefore the third one is when you use it properly. The first two is when you are not using it properly. So you remain here. So Atmane Brahma Paramatma Bhagavat Swarupine Swasmai Yat Kalpanam. So the word Atma is used here. Atma Tattva Brahmani Cha. The word Atma also means Tattva. And Tattva according to Bhagavatam is of three types. Vadanti tat tattvidas tattvam is jnanam advayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavaniti shabdate. So therefore he is translating Atma as all three. So Atmanaya Kalpanaya means Brahma, Paramatma, Bhagavat Swarupana. So Atma can relate to Brahman if you are Gyan Margi, relate to Paramatma if you are Yogi. It means Bhagavan if you are a Bhakta. Because all three processes are there to realize the Tattva. So Swasmai Yat Kalpanam. Kalpanam, what does the word Kalpanam means? Buddhi Adinam Yat Samarpanam Tadartham. So offering means utilizing your buddhi, mind, intelligence, etc. for the sake of becoming free. So you samarpan, offer everything to him instead of utilizing them for yourself. Atmane kalpanaye can be Atmane kalpanaye or Atmane akalpanaye. You can be taken both ways. So the first meaning is uses taking the word Atmane kalpanaye. And now second one he takes Atmane akalpanaye. So therefore he says Yadva Atmane Swayam Upashayitum Akalpanam Buddhyadinam Viniyoga. So Akalpan means Upasana, worship. So means it is for the worship of Atma. Tadartham. Trayanam eva pradhanya bodhakam chakar trayam. All three are primary, therefore the word cha has been used. So it is not that one is meant for the other. All three of them, all three means having the experience of the sense objects, working in a way so that you take another birth, means you create karma, and number three for moksha. So all three are independent. You can act for the sake of the first one, second one, third one. It's not that first lead to second, second leads to third, nothing like that. All three are exclusive, that is the meaning of cha. Therefore cha is used three times. Matrartham cha, bhavartham cha, atmanaya kalpanaya cha. Chakartrayam. Buddhyadin vina na karm phal swargadi bhogo. Without the utilization of buddhi, etc., you cannot have any karm phal bhog. You cannot enjoy the karma from your past life. How will you experience? You have to experience through your senses only. Mind, buddhi, indriya. So that is the matrartham. Napi karma karanam, nor can you create new karma. If you have to do new karma, then Gyan, Chikirsha, Kriti, you have to have that. So therefore you need, that is the bhavartham cha. And napi shamdamadi ang jnanam, nor if you want to follow the path of jnana to attain moksha, because you have samdam, titiksha, all that, sat sampatti, mumuksha. So you need buddhi, etc. for that. Or if you want to do napi ashtanga yoga, if you want to do ashtanga yoga, yam niyam asana pranayam dharana dhyan pratyahar dharana dhyan samadhi, then also you need. So whichever process you want to follow for attaining moksha, you need buddhi, indriya, mana, prana. Napi, or if you want to do bhakti, then also you need napi shravan kirtanadi bhakti yoga siddhyati. You cannot engage in bhakti yoga without using your intelligence, your mind, your senses, etc. Atah tan asrijat. Therefore, God created this. So the meaning is that God has created these things for human beings, for living beings, that they have a choice. They can stay in the material world or they can get out of it. People talk about free will, we have free will. So basically this is the only will you can exercise. You can decide you want to live in the material world, or you can decide that you want to get out of the material world. If you want to live in the material world and you are making different choices, they have no meaning. You are just wandering. One is that you can wander on the earth, another is that you can take a flight. Now if you wander on the earth and you make choice, I want to go there, you want to go there, you are still on earth only. So that kind of will has no meaning. So real meaning of will is that you want to walk on the earth or you want to take a flight. You want to remain bound or you want to be free from the bondage. That's the only usage of the will. So for that only God has created this. Matrartham cha bhavartham cha atmane kalpana cha can be truly divided into two groups. Matrartham, bhavartham go together. Atmane kalpana separate group. Now he raises a question on this. He says, this is very nice that you have explained this sloka, but I have a question to you. What is the question? Tvam kwa gacchasi iti prasne maya adya dadhyanyam bhuktam iti uttaram yatha. He says that somebody asks you a question, where are you going? And you say, oh, today I ate sweet rice. So he says, what kind of reply is that? The guy is asking you a question, where are you going? And you say, I ate sweet rice. So person will think you are crazy. So Parikshit Maharaj asked question that how do Shrutis explain Krishna who is beyond words? And you are saying God created intelligence, etc., so that he can enjoy or he can do this or he can do that. This is what is the relationship? I don't get it. So this is very important, this relationship, Sangati. If someone asks you a question, that you have to reply to the question and not that you start singing something else. Amran prishte kovidara nachaste. Somebody asks a question about the mango tree and you start explaining to him what the kovidar tree. So it's like that. So therefore, तथैव श्रुतियः कथं ब्रह्मणि चरन्ति प्रश्ने प्रभुर मात्रादि अर्थम बुद्ध्यादीन सृजत इति उत्तरम अभूत. He says it's just like that. He asked, how does the Shrutis explain Brahman? And he said that Lord created these things, buddhi, etc. So I don't see the relationship. So he replies to that. He says, he says that's not true. Parokshvada risheh paroksham mam cha priyam iti bhagavat ukte. Atra abhidhaya vrittya prashne vyanjana vrittya idam uttaram sangatam eva. So he says that God and sages, they like to speak in riddles. They don't speak straightforward. So you ask them question, they give answer in a riddle. But that doesn't mean that they are not giving you an answer. They are actually answering you, but they are not answering you directly. So word has three types of meaning: direct meaning, implied meaning, and suggestive meaning. So Abhida, Lakshana and Vyanjana. So King Parikshit's question is in direct meaning. There is no Lakshana there, no Vyanjana. But Sukadeva Goswami is giving reply by Vyanjana. Because he is talking about Shrutis. And Shrutis also speak like that. So he will explain, but the simple thing is that this Atmanaya Kalpana has the reply to his question. That God created these very mind, senses, etc., that you can get moksha. How will you get moksha? You will get knowledge. Rite Jnanat na mukti. Cannot get moksha without knowledge. And knowledge you will acquire from the Vedas. That's why they are called Veda. Veda means the source of knowledge. And how will you get that knowledge? Only through your mind, buddhi, etc. So therefore, that's how the reply is contained in it indirectly. He will explain it. So therefore he says that this uttara is, this reply of Sukadeva is not improper, it is proper. It has a correlationship, it is not unrelated. Although it looks like that it is unrelated. So he says, he shows how it is related. तथा ही शब्द वाच्यत्व भावात एव ब्रह्मण अनिर्देशनत्वं ब्रूषे खलु. So he says that you are saying that Brahman is anirdeshya, that it cannot be described by words. Is this what you mean by anirdeshya? That's what you are intending to say. So he says, if this is what you mean, then there are many things which can become anirdeshya, not only Brahman. Yadi indriyani parmeshvaro nasrikshat tada shabda sparshadayopi anirdeshya brahmatulya eva bhavisya. He says, suppose the human beings did not have the senses. Then even this table, chair, everything will become anirdeshya. If human beings did not have the tongue to speak, like animals, like suppose ants, mosquitoes, flies, right? So they cannot speak. So then everything is anirdeshya for them, because they cannot describe anything. If you ask a fly, what is this? Fly will not even understand your question. So then everything is Brahman. Because your definition of Brahman is anirdeshya, that which cannot be described in words. Now, for human beings we can describe, but other beings cannot describe, so it is like Brahman to them. And if human beings did not have the tongue, the eyes, the ear, nose, etc., then you think they will be able to describe? No. So then everything will become Brahman, because that's your definition of Brahman. So Brahmatulya eva abhavishyan adyapi janmandha badhirasya roop shabdau brahmavad anirupyo bhavata eva. Says if somebody is deaf by birth and is speech impaired, unable to speak, he is unable to hear and unable to speak by birth, then for him everything is indescribable. So then everything is just like Brahman for him. If somebody wants to know what is Brahman, then you tell him, go and ask this guy. He will give you the reply. So the guy will not be able to say anything. Then he will say, oh, this is Brahman. actually happened once long ago. One Advaitvadi came and I was teacher in the Gurukula. So we met the principal of the Gurukula and started arguing with him. So he got a little nervous. He brought him to me. He said, "You talk to him." So I started talking to him. So I asked him, "What is Brahman? Describe." So the guy sat down like this with closed eyes. He said, "This is Brahman." That was his reply. So this is what you want to attain, which you cannot say in words. Cannot. All you can say is just be silent. So that's why he's saying that Brahmavad anirupyo bhavata eva. Tena asmadadibhyo yena grahakani indriyani dattva shabdadiyo nirdeshya sugmakrita teneva parmeshwarene kasmeshchit kripya brahmanopi grahakam kimapi samarthyam dattva jati gun kriyatiriktam kimapi shabdam pravrittam nimittam srishtva asrishtva eva brahmapi sadnirdeshyam karishyate. So now he comes to his point. He says that the person, the God, who has given us the senses, etc., by which we can hear sound, we can speak, we can taste, touch, etc., and we are able to describe things, relate to things here in the material world. That same Parameshwara, same God, can bless somebody, not everybody, but he can bless somebody that person can also experience Brahman. He can give him the ability, which is that ability which goes beyond the jati, gun, kriya, rupa, etc. of these material objects. Now he has given us the ability. With that ability we can only know the objects of this material world. And we can describe them, we can experience them. But that person can also give us the ability that you can go beyond that and have experience of Brahman. That is possible. That is why he said Atmanya Kalpanaya. The first part is understandable. Matrartham cha bhavartham cha, that is within our experience. But he added third thing there, Atmanya Kalpanaya. That is to know Brahman. So that ability he can give if we desire, but we don't want that, so we limit ourselves only to the first two. So therefore for us it looks like that Brahman is just beyond reach. That's the meaning. So kimapi shabda pravritti nimittam srishtva asrishtva va. So just like at present the words, their pravritti nimitta means the reason why a particular word is used for a particular object is basically dependent on whether it is a substance or is it a quality or is it a jati, class or kriya or action. So he says he can also give something more. Now we only have 5 senses. But what if there is a possibility of more senses? At present it is inconceivable for us that there can be some, although sometimes we use the word sixth sense, that it is sixth sense. But what if the devas, higher beings, actually have 10 senses? Then they will be knowing many more things which we are just unable to know. Just like a person who is blind by birth cannot see color and he cannot know. His world is different. So we are actually blind to certain things which devas or the sages can see. That's why sages are called seers. They can see things which we don't see. That's why Shastra speaks about certain things which we say, oh, how is this possible? No, because our things, our senses, they work in a particular range, and there are people whose senses can work beyond that range or can have more senses. than what we have. So whether it is right or wrong, we say that human beings use only 4 or 5% of their brain. I don't know if this is scientific fact or not, but I've heard it many times that most intelligent people can use 5% of the brain. So what happens to the 95%? That means the samarthya is there for it to be activated. So that is activated in sages, maybe they are using 50% of their brain. So that's why he says pravritti nirvittam srishtva asrishtva evava, that he can create some other pravritti nimitta by which you can transfer that knowledge, or without that also he can. Brahmapi sad nirdeshya karishyate, and then Brahman will also become nirdeshya, describable in that. And that's what Vedas are about. So for a common person, Veda may look like just like some words of people who are not very advanced or not clear. But all the acharyas have so much respect for the Vedas. So that means they actually have some better understanding of these words of Vedas than a common person has. It's not just what we see. यतः स प्रभु अनिर्वचनीयम अपि निर्वचनीयम कर्तुम समर्थ है. Why? Because the word says Prabhu. In the verse, the word Prabhu is used. Buddhi indriya mana pranam jananam asrijat Prabhu. So what does Prabhu means? We use Prabhu all the time. So what does the word Prabhu actually means? The word, the meaning. So Prabhu means one who has samarthya, one who is capable. That's what Prabhu means. And that's why the word Prabhu has been used here, that he has the capability to do that. That he has the capability to make us understand what is not understandable. So kartum akartum anyatha kartum samartha. That which is not possible, he can make that possible. That's why he is called Prabhu. That is the meaning of the word Prabhu. So he can make something which is beyond words available to us, and we can describe. Tataha shrutiyoni sukham charayu iti tatra sukham charayu iti. So therefore, then the Shrutis, Shrutayo Sukham Charayo. Then the Shrutis can happily describe him. That is the meaning. And this is stated by Matsyadev himself. Taduktam Bhagavata Matsyadevene. Matsyadev spoke it to King Satyavrata. That story of the fish, whom he kept the fish when he went, and then fish became bigger, and then he put it in a bigger pot, bigger pond. Finally he released the fish into the sea, and then the fish spoke to him that you gather all the seeds and I will come back to save you. So at that time, this is the statement in Bhagavatam, Madiyam Mahimanam cha Parabrahmeti Shabditam Vetsasya Grihitam me Samprashnair Vivritam Hridi. He says that you will also understand my Mahima, which is known as Parabrahma. And by my Anugraha, by my grace, Anugrihitam me Samprashnair Vivritam. You will question me when I will appear as Matsya Avatar, and I will reply to you, and you will understand the meaning of my words in your heart. So as it is said in the very beginning of Bhagavatam, Tene Brahma Hridaya Adi Kavye Mahyanti Yat Suraya. So the meaning of the Vedas, Brahma means Veda, Tene Brahma Hridaya Adi Kavi. So the meaning of the Veda was transmitted into the heart of the first Kavi or Adi Kavi by Bhagavan, where even the Surya, great learned people, become bewildered. Mahiyanti yat Suraya. So that is what is being mentioned here, that we will have a dialogue, question answer, and then you will understand that in your heart. So he will explain the meaning of this sloka. We will do that tomorrow if there is any question. Gustavo.
Pranam Babaji. So, does this mean that someone who understands the Shruti has a Brahman realization?
It's possible, but not necessary. It's not only Brahman, but Bhagavan, Paramatma. Shrutis describe all three.
I'd like to ask about the end of the commentary on the first verse. There he spoke about the Sat and Asat. And could you explain again what is Sat and what is Asat? What I caught is this alternative meaning that there is Sat means Dravya and Guna because the Gunas are inside the Dravya, and Asat means that which is not Dravya, meaning Jati and Kriya. But then the other meaning I didn't catch.
So there it says Sat Dravyam, Prithvyadi Dravyam, and Asat Anispanna Svabhava. Anispanna Svabhava is what I said is Kriya. Because its Svabhava is not Nispanna. Nispanna means completed.
Mm-hmm.
Kriya is incomplete.
Okay, so therefore
That is Asat.
Asat would refer to only Kriya and everything else would be Sat.
Yeah.
Okay. And how can we say that Asat means Jati? Because Jati and Guna, they are both in Kriya, right? So why put the Guna in with the Dravya
Because
together?
it says Sat Dravyam and Asat Adravyam. So if you know that Dravya Gun Karma, so if Sat is Dravya and other is Adravya, Jati Kriya, they will come Adravya.
But why is Guna not Adravya?
Guna you can also include if you want. Because Dravya, Guna is always with Dravya.
But then Jati is also always with Dravya, isn't it? What's the difference
Jati
here
is something
between?
which we imagine.
Ah, okay, in that sense.
And
Okay.
Kriya is temporary.
Yes, okay, I see now. Thank you.
There's a question from Mohini. She asks, last Tuesday it was explained that Brahma once scolded a person for Brahma once scolded a person for looking at a woman whose garments were slightly blown by the wind, that they should go to the earth. Yet in another pastime, Brahma himself felt attraction toward his own daughter. How can Brahma judge and punish someone for something from which he himself is not free? And how is he still qualified to reside on Brahmaloka?
So that's what we are saying, that these Vedic statements which are there, they not always have the primary meaning. Sometimes things are taught by Vyanjana, by Lakshana, by that. So the meaning is there that Saraswati is the daughter of Brahma. He became attracted, means just like sound is attractive. It's not always meaning that he was running to have sex. That's how the story is told. But he is attracted to knowledge. That is one other meaning. Saraswati means that she is the deity of knowledge. So he runs after knowledge.